All right, y'all. Bearded Bros Golf Show. Back at it for another week. A lot of some repeating topics that we've had covered last week that have new developments this week. And introducing ourselves, I'm Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
And we have a special guest this week. We have college golfer who's featured on our thumbnail, and that is Michael Pimentel. He is a
Mhm.
D1 golfer at Southern University. Mike, introduce yourself to the crew.
Hi, everybody. My name is Michael Pimentel. I'm a junior here at Southern University in Baton Rouge, and also play collegiate golf at Southern University. It's a pleasure being on here. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. You got the beard going, so you fit in with us. You're not a complete outcast, so welcome
Uh,
on in.
I'm the third beard. No, it's just I've been trying to get on here for a while, and y'all keep telling me no, so that's all right.
All right, so you're the bearded stepbrother.
Show is, show
So we
is.
will we will jump into the topics and then we'll get in a little more specific about Mike and his collegiate golf career near the tail end of the show here. So let's get into the main thing. Well, it's hard to even pick a main topic, but we'll just go down the list. Tiger returned to the golf stage after about 200 some odd days. After we saw him last in the third round of the Masters, limping off after a cold restart, looking mixed bag. I mean, clearly still the best iron player in the world. Scotty Scheffler giving him a run, who actually took the tournament title. But the main thing is Tiger. Marcus, let's start off with you. What did you think about Tiger this weekend and his game and the way he's looking out on the course?
Yeah, wasn't too worried about how the game was going to look because, of course, competitive play brings a different animal. So definitely, the nerves were going to be there. All the shots weren't going to be able to come off as he wanted, but the ball striking was there. The putting was there for the most part. A little bit jabby at times, but when you're Tiger, you're going to try to jam it in the back. All those 3 or 4 footers for par and birdie and stuff like that. So as expected, the swing looked great. Definitely getting over to his left side very much so, and only having so much pressure on that rehabilitated ankle and right leg and stuff like that. But yeah, from what I saw, it was very refreshing. The limp wasn't there. A couple of times I felt like he was laboring, but for the most part, 90% of the time he was trudging along, no limp, and striding out. So looked good for 4 rounds complete. Didn't have any wear and tear on it, and he said himself with the training and the rehab and everything like that, he should be good to go for what we were discussing last week.
Yeah.
One prevent per month going into 2024. So very excited, and hopefully he can continue that.
Yep. Mike, what did you see from Tiger from your perspective?
I thought Tiger looked good. I mean, swing looks good. Ball striking's good, like Marcus mentioned. The short game's coming along really well. I think with him having to rehab so long, that's the only thing he could do is chip and putt. Um, Putting really wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, he annihilated all the par fives all 3 days. I mean, he was pretty much under for all the par fives. So I mean, that looked really good. Driving distance was crazy.
Mi- Mixed bag. Yeah, I saw that. The driving distance was definitely there. A
Yeah.
couple of the back nine par fives jumped up
Yeah,
on him.
number
I think it was the
11, he didn't
last.
like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. But I mean, the power is still there, the athleticism is still there, and I think even Charlie has a big influence or a big role to play as well. I mean, even though he's behind the camera, backstage, but Charlie pushes him every day, and he's out there, so he looks really good. I mean, the best thing to hope is that he's still healthy to play once a month. That's the biggest thing is can Tiger remain healthy for that once a month to perform in these big stages or in these big tournaments that he wants to play in. So I'm excited to see what he has in store. I honestly think he has a chance to win something this year with the way he looks at the beginning of this year. It's just that third round, it looked like he was pushing his irons a little too far. He was blasting it past every green, but it just shows that the athleticism is still there, the power is still there, and we could see maybe another tournament or another major out of Tiger. So I'm
yeah.
excited.
I agree. I mean, he clearly still in the weight room. My guy
That's
still
yeah.
looks jacked,
Look
barrel
freaking
chested.
buff.
Yes,
Did you
yes.
see him
I
walk
know.
in today?
Yeah, yo,
Oh,
the
with the
sleeveless shirt,
Nike, with the
crazy.
slim
Yeah.
fit. Yeah,
Yeah. Somebody asked me on my timeline, they was like, "How old is Tiger again?" I was like, "He's 47. Please relax.
yeah. You can't
Please
tell
relax."
until he takes the hat off. Then you truly know he's 47. But
Facts.
still looked really good out there. I am looking forward to seeing him get reps in. I don't know how early, we know he's playing next week in the PNC with Charlie. I don't know what his schedule is going to set up and how early we're going to see him next year. Does he make the trip over to Kapalua to play in Hawaii? Who knows? But it's exciting to see him healthy and not, like you said, the ankle. He's got so many things going on with his body that at least it's not a super pronounced limp. And like you said, he's a little bit labored, but I think we are, I'm excited to see Tiger and, see him return to the game. I was thinking about this today that a lot of these guys still view Tiger as their idol. I mean, these
Yeah,
guys
as
watched
a
him
hero.
coming up as a hero. And I think part of, the struggles that the game has seen and the different, separation has been Tiger's absence in the game and not really being present and having to deal with his own health issues. I feel like a lot of the bifurcation and people splitting off and finding other interests has been his disinvolvement in the game. These conversations just weren't as hot and heavy. With the Jon Rahm stuff lingering in the background, that just really hadn't been the case until Tiger really has just missed consecutive years. The accident definitely pronounced that. So I'm looking forward to having the big cat back on the prowl on the fairways this year as a constant presence on the tour. And also being on the board of director with the players is a huge influence on how things are going to look in the future. Um, so another return that I didn't want to gloss over, and was Will Zalatoris. I think he ended up, finishing dead last. His back return, his return after a back injury and recovery, and a switch up on putter. Um, Clearly, still trying to figure the game out. Did y'all get a chance to, even though he wasn't featured much on TV early on, but catch any of Will Zalatoris? Mike, did you see any of him on screen this week?
I did. I did. I caught a couple of highlights of Will. I think he's in that stage where he's trying to figure out what is good for my back, what isn't good for my back, and I think I know I have gone through that. Marcus has gone through that, where back problems can end your career or it can halt your career. So I think, I mean, with the surgeries he's had, he's mentioned that they've been successful and they've released some of that pressure from his lower back or from that specific area of his back. That he just has to retrain those muscles and just find a swing that's comfortable. Because I mean, if you look at his swing, it's very traditional, but at the same time, just how his back is at setup, it's not a, a spot that looks comfortable or it looks appealing to everyone else's. I mean, he's the only person I know that really hunches his lower back or he arches his lower back to create his move. But I think he's going to figure that out throughout the season. He's a great player. The putter change, I think he should have stuck with his original putter, even though his like 3 footers are a little shaky.
They're
We've
still
seen that.
shaky, man.
Yeah, we've seen that stroke.
Still.
Yeah. But I think he should have stuck with his all reliable and, just ironed it out. But, those guys have a whole team of personnel that, they pay thousands and thousands of dollars for. So he trusts his camp. And the only thing we can do is just see how he does throughout the year and how he progresses throughout the year as well.
Yeah. I know they were talking about him getting a little more rotational, not as much constriction on his turn. I know that's how he generated a lot of power as a pretty slight guy. So you saw a little more turn from him this week. So as he gets adjusted to the swing, we'll see how the success either comes or doesn't come. So Marcus, do you have any additional thoughts on Will?
Yeah. Only thing that I really wanted to bring up is the putter thing. And I mean, when you're searching, you're always going to keep searching. So I think he just needs to lock in with one. But mean, Lucas did the same thing, Lucas Glover, and he found a home with the anchored putter. I mean, the non-anchored putter. So I think he'll be okay with this. This will allow him to stand up a little bit taller, keep his posture a little bit better, maybe not as much hunched over, maybe not as cumbersome on the pressure of his back. So maybe it's a thing to help him relieve some of that pressure from it. So, whatever gets the job done. But I mean, I think sometimes when it comes to putting, you're either natural born with it, or sometimes it's just going to take a couple of hours a day to just lock it in. And so with him coming off a back injury, didn't really have the time to do that. So hopefully, December in Florida or in Arizona or wherever he's at, where he knows it's going to be 80 degrees, he can get him some good work in and, be back and ready to go in February when, Farmers Insurance and the Cali Swing, and then of course, Arizona and waste management and stuff like that. Hopefully he can get some good momentum going early so that he can really believe in and these new moves and the injury being alleviated and stuff like that. So early season success is always, a deterrent from, I don't know, it's lingering. I don't know if the game's going to come back. So
Yeah.
hopefully something like that lands his way.
You never know if there's some PTSD, swinging and how much work he's been able to put in at home up to
True.
this point that you just don't know if that feeling from back tightness is going to return, or what, caused you to tweak it in the first place comes back. Let's go ahead and transition. Mention Jon Rahm and kind of lingering over the Hero World Challenge, and a lot of the PGA Tour pros having to make comments about it, and getting asked questions. Being obviously vague. Speed just being vague as well as Tiger. Um, if you've been a long time viewer, you kind of know where Marcus and I stand on Live as a whole. I just did want to get your feelings, Mike. You're a little bit younger than the both of us. What are your thoughts on the whole Live situation? And do you think it's good for the game? Do you think what do you think of the format as a whole? And what do you think about its involvement in the game of golf at this current time?
Um, well, at first when Liv did come out, I thought Liv was a joke. I mean, are you kidding me? You're playing half the events on tour, and
A
it
third of the
it just
events, by the way.
yeah, or it just didn't really scream to me. Like it wasn't like, oh, I want to go to a Live tournament, or I want to. But at the same time, I think Live really attracted an audience where every tournament is pretty much a party. So it's, where the PGA only has one tournament, which is the waste management, where you get that kind of environment. And I think what Live kind of did, and what we kind of don't see, is that they attracted an audience that enjoys that kind of rowdy, loud life or, event like the waste management. And they do that week in, week out. So I think they did capture that audience, and that is great for the game of golf. And also, it's not like we're out here seeing a bunch of wash players. I mean, we still have lots of big names in that field, like Dustin Johnson, Sergio
Yeah,
Garcia, walking. So
yeah, to a certain degree. I mean, the back half of the league is pretty washed. If you ask me, yes, there's definitely some names, but that second half, and we're going to get into it, the qualifying event that they have coming up here next week as well. Some of those names, I'm just like, wow, if that's what they're recruiting. But I get what you're saying in terms of it brings in a new segment, and to be honest with you, um, anytime we post a Live clip or talk about Live, I feel like all 15 fans that are watching on CW end up in the comment section here, just really trying to encourage us to give it a shot, which I have. I
Right.
think that's the interesting part is that we've really taken the time to sit down, watch it, analyze it. I've talked about the business side of it. That I'm having a hard time seeing it, but I think Rom, if he ends up migrating over, definitely changes the equation for the PGA Tour and for Live and its trajectory, because he's not going to be the only one going to be making that move. So, Mike, how much have you actually watched of Live? Sat down, tried to find it on CW or when they were streaming last year?
man, I think I've watched maybe half a tournament, a couple of tournaments here and there. It is
Okay.
again, it just really never caught my eye. Um,
Hard to catch your eye when we don't even know what channel CW's on.
Yeah, but I think
So you don't have
they,
you're not fundamentally opposed to it. It's just not something that you're going to seek out. Is that fair?
yeah, I'd say. I mean, I've had multiple conversations with a lot of friends and coworkers about it, and a lot of these pros have made these decisions to either, it's a financial decision or a family decision. So I think
Right.
that the
Understandable.
right, that the only thing we can do is respect their decision. And of course, a lot of players on tour are not a big fan of that decision, but they don't know what's going on in their lives. I know a lot of them are friends with some of these individuals, and they respect their decision, and they decide not to speak out on it, or they're just kind of over it. So like you mentioned, Jordan Spieth really being really vague on it. Um, but again, it really comes down to their decision and their choice. Like Dustin Johnson's decision was he wanted to play less golf. So I mean that's his choice. Whatever.
Right.
He
So
stated it.
yeah. So in a couple of years, so you're a junior in college right now. So a couple of
Mhm.
years, you come out, and I'm assuming you want to continue playing golf as long as you can.
Absolutely,
Correct?
yeah.
Even if
As long
then
as my
going into the professional leagues. So
mhm,
that's an aspiration of yours. If given the opportunity, let's say Liv throws you a contract for I don't know 500K to over 3 years.
mhm.
Enough to keep you eating, get your finances taken care of, to move around, and then of course there's guaranteed winnings just for playing in a tournament. Is there anything fundamentally opposing you from going over there and taking on that opportunity if that's the best route for you to continue playing golf?
Well, to me, I see golf as golf. As long as I get to enjoy playing the sport that I love, that golf is golf, and people will not like me for going to live, or if you know if both the PGA Tour and Live offered me, I would take the PGA Tour just because of. I mean, I grew up watching the PGA Tour. I grew up watching those greats. They every kid's dream is to go to the PGA Tour, but if I don't succeed on the PGA Tour, I don't get that opportunity to be on the PGA Tour, and Live offers me. I just see golf as golf, and I love the game, and I want to play it as long as I can, or as long as my body lets me. Um, so to me, golf is golf.
Yeah. Now
Yeah.
in the situation, Mike, as far as like you trying to work your way up the ranks, if nothing changes in these next few years with the litigation and everything like that, do you not feel like the money is kind of empty? Do you not feel like that with you not being able to obtain official golf ranking points, as far as being able to qualify for majors, higher up events, as far as like in off tour events, especially with the partnership that's opening it up for back for the DP World Tour, for the PGA Tour, and stuff like that. But if you don't have the points, if you don't have the qualifications, then how are we going to get into these new events and stuff like that? Is that something that weighs on you as well with that decision? Again, this is just all hypothetical,
Right, right,
but
right. No, I
something you've
think
thought about?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, my dream has been to play in the Masters and to play at the U.S. Open and to really one day hopefully be a major champion, whether it's in Augusta, Georgia, or wherever they're having the U.S. Open or the PGA, or go across seas and win the British Open. And I mean, to know that this other league will strip me of any chance of doing that, it's kind of a decision that it's not an easy one to make. I mean, most of those guys on Live like have won major championships. Their name is out there. They're done. They got it. So for someone like me, I that's why I'm so heavy towards the PGA Tour, because without that, I don't get into this. So I think for those younger players, that's a big decision that they have to make, knowing that potentially I may not ever play in the Masters, or I might play in the Masters, but it won't. But I have to be a champion first. So it's a tough decision that all these professional golfers have to make, and I think they really sit down with their camp and their people and say, like, what are we going for, the money, or are we going for the legacy? So I think
Yeah.
that's what it comes down to.
I think that this comes down to a generational change that we're still in the middle of. I mean, I mentioned Tiger earlier on being the model. The PGA Tour is what people know. up to this point. Correct. Liv is only a few years old at this stage, 2 years going into their third year. And so, I mean, I know they're trying to forge the team thing and have kids coming up being aware of Liv, but that takes a whole generation to sift through. So I don't know. I know the acrimony and struggle with kind of the back and forth has, unfortunately, I don't know. It's kind of aggravated me with golf, and I've become disillusioned to kind of the fighting and the comment sections here and there, here where I'm struggling with people that, you know, that are pissy in our comment section. I'm just like, come on now, let's settle down. I mean, I had a good discourse with somebody earlier on our video about Jon Rahm leaving from last week. That he said this essentially the same thing. Golf is golf, and I agreed. But I also said that as a golf fan, the PGA Tour currently is the best place to see the most golf the most often. So with Live the limited schedule, you're picking and choosing when you're going to watch, and that's 14 weeks out of the year. And to me, that's just not enough. And then, I found that people tend to crap on the PGA Tour just to like Live, and I don't know. I just don't think it has to be a decision that you'd have to make to like one or the other. So,
Yeah,
Right.
it shouldn't be a
Absolutely.
rivalry. It shouldn't be something where it's this or that. It's what me and Rod have talked about for 3 or 4 months now. It's the product. If the product isn't appealing, if it's not something worth watching, why even waste your time on it? And again, for the YouTube trolls that we've always dealt with, they still haven't came back with something worth watching about the events. We okay, we sound negative about it. All right, well, what's the positive in lives besides seeing old washed up golfers that we've watched for 20 years on PGA Tour? I can watch Ian Poulter highlights on the Ryder Cup and from PGA Tour anytime I want. I can watch Phil Mickelson win the Masters 3 or 4 times on YouTube all I want. What is he doing now for the game? Because apparently he doesn't even know what his main running buddy from Arizona State is planning to do as far as his contract negotiations with the Live or PGA Tour. So what more can I ask from Phil if he doesn't even know what's going on? Again, it's about the overall product of it. And again, we've tried to give it a chance, and I will try to continue to give it a chance. I'm trying to turn over a new leaf for 2024. I want to see it succeed. And it's supposed to be an event in Houston as well next year, early June, June 8th or something like that, up at Golf Club of Houston. We'll see how that goes. But again, it's about the product. And if they're not going to do anything to produce a better product or make something more appealing to the overall crowd, then I don't see this thing lasting very long, more than 4 or 5 years of the potential business, where the business model where we can take a few years of loss and see where it goes from there. So again,
yeah. So let's hit a quick hitter on the Live subject before we move on out of that. But this week on the DP World Tour, dueling events again. One in South Africa, the other in Australia. The Australian event, a mixed event with the ladies and the men, which was cool to see them playing on the same course, although,
definitely.
not playing in tandem. So that was cool for them to get highlighted and to go back and forth in the coverage. I thought that was pretty damn awesome, to be real with you, on the Australian side. So we had Joaquin Niemann in Australia taking the title. Siwoo Kim early in the week looked like he was going to go on the back-to-back wins. Wasn't able to pull it off. Struggled on the third and fourth day of the tournament after taking an early lead. But Joaquin Niemann getting his win over there in Australia, a live guy, and Dean Burmester getting his second win in a row in South Africa, another live guy. So them essentially, them definitely getting some world ranking points out of their play these last couple of weeks. Any comments to add to that? I mean, congrats to those guys. Winning is winning, and
Yeah.
if you could, it's hard to win golf tournaments.
Yeah.
Especially back-to-back weeks, as Siwoo Kim showed. But Dean Burmester really pulling it out on the final day. Any comments on those two situations before we segue out?
Actually, there's an interesting story about Joaquin Niemann and that win. He was actually ranked 82nd in the world. And then after he won, he ranked 59, but he's still shy of that Masters invitation. And that
Yep.
bit him in the tail. So he was excited that he did win the Australian Open, but he was just kind of sad and frustrated that he couldn't qualify for the Masters. And that all comes right back to Live. He made that executive decision. He decided to go to Live, and again, there's no hate on him. I love to see a Spanish golfer in the field whenever, because unfortunately the Spanish community really isn't in that big in the golf or big in on the PGA Tour. So I was happy to see a someone Spanish win or a Hispanic win. It just my heart goes out to him because he was a couple places shy of going back to the Masters, and
Yeah.
I still
Well,
wish him.
let me
Yeah.
ask you: does he have any additional opportunities to gain points? I mean, I'm assuming he's going to keep trying to play overseas as much as possible to try to hit that. Did they speak about any additional opportunities that he had upcoming to achieve that?
Not that I know of off the top of my head, but
Okay.
I think there still are a couple tournaments out there where he could maybe jump a couple more places and get in. But I think from what I read that's it. That last
He's
tournament
exempt
was
into the Open Championship. He's still gonna
yeah.
be in a major. He's
Hmm.
fine.
Yeah,
Again,
but
he's 24. He's
yeah.
got his money. With the merger, he'll still be able to switch back and he'll still be able to get his money.
Well, maybe we'll see if that happens, man. That's
Right.
Yeah.
there's no guarantee.
Due
I've
date
been
by December
saying
31st. We'll see.
Yeah, I've been saying that that's not a firm date, but apparently this week, Jay
They're trying to
Monahan
make it
came
happen.
out and said it was firm. So it seems like some things are moving that may have forced some hands. We're still again kind of waiting on the Jon Rahm announcement. Word is on the street that it's pretty much a lock. I did see one contrasting opinion to that, which was, your guy Marcus Colt Nost said that hold on. Y'all be patient. It's not necessarily a done deal. I don't know. He's in the mix with the players. So, a lot of the other accounts that are calling it as a done deal, um, they're just kind of tabloid,
Yeah.
Twitter, handles. So, coming from Colt Nost, I was like, that gave me a little bit of pause. He tweeted that out a couple of days that, hey, y'all be chill. So, there's a lot of backroom shuffling and, stuff still going on. So, kind of gives me high anxiety trying to figure it out. But can't stress about what you can't control. So that's kind of the rule I'm trying to stick with. Um, so cool. Yeah, I mean that's good info. Thanks for that tidbit, Mike. That's good to know about him and him being super close to requalifying for the Masters. Golf ball rollback. This is the last bull's crap topic for the week. Um, we talked about this earlier in the year, and when it was first announced, and they were talking about there being two versions of the golf ball, one for pros, one for amateurs. The amateur golf ball seemed like it wasn't going to be affected, and you had all these manufacturers come out and say that they were not willing to put in the R&D to develop two different types of golf balls. That the money that they were going to have to invest and lose behind the development didn't make sense for them. So the RNA and USGA came back and said, hold my beer. We're going to just screw everybody. So the
Freaking
proposed changes are to roll back the golf ball universally, pros and amateurs, since no one wanted to come to the table, versus just abandoning the decision to do this. And they keep, referring to the sustainability of the game. I'll ask you, Mike, first, just because playing with you, you're a long hitter. What do you think about the distance rollback and how it may affect your game? And do you, yes, it's going to be universal, but I also think they're going to have people out there playing old golf balls. And I don't know the way they're going to plan to police this. And true enough, it's like 8 years or 5 years out. I think for amateurs, it's 2030. So, what do you think about this change?
Um, I think it's the dumbest decision the USGA has ever decided to do. It's stupid. I'm sorry. I mean, so what if I hit the ball 330? So what? I think, and it's just not fair. It's I honestly think it's really dumb. I mean, If you look on tour, you know, you have only a couple guys that hit it 340, 350 net, and we're talking about like Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, all those guys. And I think a lot of the tour pros have even been saying like, "Hey, like, what'd you think we were gonna do? Like, just sit here and be couch potatoes? Like, no, we're gonna be athletes. We're gonna look like
Yeah.
athletes. We're gonna work
Yeah.
out like athletes." Like, if you look at Tiger from, let's say, 96, 98, I mean, he was a skinny little thing, and he comes out in the early 2000s and is just this ripped, massive man, you know, and he's bombing these guys 30, 40 yards. So it's stupid. And then if you look at from a genetic or a biological standpoint, you know, a guy who's 6'8", 6'6" is going to hit the ball further than someone who's 5'5" or 5'4". So what are you going to do? Like, oh, if you're 6 foot, you have to. No, that's just how that life was dealt. So being having to give up yards to make it a tougher golf course, it doesn't make any sense. If you look at the US Open alone, those are some of the hardest golf courses that they make it impossible to play. Like if the three of us went out there and played, I would probably definitely shoot like a 98 of how difficult that golf course would be.
Yeah.
So I think the USGA is making a terrible decision. It's a dumb decision. Just keep the golf courses the way they have, and I think they've done a great selection in these past US Opens and these past US amateurs and these US juniors, to where these kids and these amateurs and these pros have to showcase their abilities. They have to be the number 1%, and that is what the USGA was looking for, or is continue to look for. Who is the top dog in these conditions? And they should leave it like
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and we talked about not club, but course design and kind of conditions. Not really the design, but the conditions. Being able to fight against high scoring, and I don't feel like these courses are shootouts. And I think I can kind of personify or give a really good example. So, just even on the collegiate level, the showcase a couple of weeks ago that had college golfers play at Cedar Crest here in DFW. They had the course playing pretty firm and fast in the fairways and definitely firm and fast on the greens. So Marcus and I played a couple of weeks after that event. Greens were still pretty premium shape. And if you think that the stuff that you play, the conditions that you play on as an amateur on your local muni are tough, like go play one of these courses that pros play on. It is a completely different game, and the skill level that it takes to actually score low
Yeah.
on those type of conditions is ridiculous. So we've had the benefit of playing a couple of pro courses, TPC Craig Ranch here in DFW as well, Golf Club of Houston. These courses are tough. And so I don't know, it feels like there's a complete disconnect between people that govern the game and people that, you know, are in the game and playing it. I mean, you have a few advocates for the golf ball rollback. Rory has come out on the side of the rollback being a good thing, as well as Tiger. Tiger has been on that train for a long time.
Long time.
And I saw a couple of pros also mention they could have just rolled back the driver size or limited the driver CCs for
Yeah.
pros to like 330. I think one of my favorite Twitter follows, Michael Kim, who's a PGA Tour pro, stated that. What do you think about rolling back the driver, Marcus, as a preventative measure?
Dumb. I don't think there should be any rollbacks because, I mean, you think about, honestly, Michael's a perfect example. You think about guys that's been playing golf since how old? 2, 3, 4 years old. You don't think they haven't put in thousands of hours of time to be this good and be able to hit the ball that far? Or how many hours you put into the gym, or the technique that you've went through and been taught from a swing coach that you spent money on, or somebody that's taken the time out to do this? I mean, it's unfortunate because Brandon Chambly really talks out the side of his freaking ear half the time he's even talking. But he summed it up literally perfectly. And it's that the little excerpt I sent you on IG earlier today, right? I mean, like he
Yeah.
hit all the points. He clowned USGA. He clowned RNA. He made sure that everybody knew what it was. But we can link the video that we had earlier this season because we went over all that. We went through all of this BS, and now that it's confirmed, it's just honestly, I feel like it's really just recurring, and it's gonna make me angry again just thinking about it. It really is the dumbest thing. Like they've tried to dial it back, like it's just 5% difference now that they're gonna do, but even then, that's still idiotic. But you know,
Yeah.
And
Let me pull up. Go ahead.
And Rod, you mentioned that they want to make the driver head 430cc. Sorry, USGA. There's already drivers out there that are 430cc's. I mean, you look at the TSR 3, 4. The 4 is even smaller. I think it's like 390. My driver, which is a 430 LST, is 430cc's. You can make it as small as you want. Guess what? We're gonna find the middle
No,
of the face no matter what.
he was saying 330, like super
330. That's
dramatic.
ridiculous.
like a mini driver, like the TaylorMade mini driver.
I mean,
Kind of
to me, it doesn't
going
matter.
really old school. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. We're gonna find the middle of the face. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah.
Like
You're right.
Marcus
You
mentioned,
can go
yeah.
back and look
We'll
you
find
can
it.
go back and look at old school drivers, and they were small. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know the CCs, but they were very, when you look at the first Big Bertha, it was still pretty much the size of a modern 3 wood at this stage. So, yeah, I agree. Let me pull up this quick little collage. I'm not going to quote everything on here, but, just kind of a quick little blurb about the rollback. Rory and his deal, and how he was saying that we should be mad at the manufacturers. He's saying don't be mad at the governing bodies, be mad at the manufacturers. So you can pause and read if you're watching this later. I couldn't agree with the Rory part. This is Matt Janella, used to be of Golf Channel, has since split off. Sorry, this has gone through pretty fast, but he is definitely not on the side of it. Just said this is very much on brand for golf, and that's pretty much spot on. If you take the logical perspective, the governing bodies of golf are pretty much going to go do the opposite thing. That's just what they do. And the last one that I had pulled in was Lou Stagner Golf. He's associated with Arcos and a really big stat guy. He is also, very much numbers oriented. And he said, even from the numbers, this doesn't make much sense at all. And he talks about the Tee It Forward campaign from a few years ago, or about 10 years ago. And that crap did not work, man. No one was moving forward on a set of tees. And I saw a cool little calculation, or a guy that I play with said that pretty much take your 6 iron distance, your average 6 iron distance, and then times it by a number. And that's theoretically the yardage that you should be playing from, when you look at your scorecard. And it actually kind of matched up with the tees that I play. That's in my group. Most of the other guys should probably be playing the whites, or something shorter than that. But it was a very interesting thing. So I don't think this is going to make the game any better or more sustainable at the end of the day. So a couple of little quick comments from Perry. Shout out to Perry. So Rory will still blow it by Brian Harman and other short hitters. Yeah, he's still going to figure out a way to blow up these courses. Um, you know, Trees and bunkers will do more for restricting drives than a slower ball. And also, just kind of also reiterated that Tiger was on the side of bifurcation. So, um, again, I disagree with both Tiger and Rory in their opinion of this. I just don't think this is good for the game. So that's the golf stories for the week. Let me make sure I'm correct in that, and then we'll get on to some of the questions for Mike. Anything from you guys in the game of golf that I may have missed?
Oh, by the way, the new TaylorMade driver, that QI10, looks really good. I like the color scheme, the whole deal. I mean, until we get it in store and I put it on the track, man, we'll see what it talks about. I mean, we really didn't see much difference from the Stealth to Stealth 2. So hopefully we get something different from the this new QI10. You know,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
looks really good.
Yeah, hopefully I can be in our market for a new driver. Hopefully, I mean, hopefully somebody
Ah,
can help me out.
man, you're so
Don't
you
start.
keep talking about changing. It's like if what you got works, keep hitting it, man.
Right, right. This is between me and Michael. Michael knows exactly
Don't
what I'm
start.
saying, and that's why he's trying to get me to stop because
Lord.
he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing for
All
his
right.
caddy.
Moving on. Next topic.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So, first question that came in from our number one fan and member. So, shout out to members. If you are not, consider joining. Low tiers, $2.99, contributing to our little show here and continuing to improve our production value and grow the show. So, Yolanda Babel says, Mike, as a college golfer, and just kind of reintroducing this, Michael is a junior at Southern University. Does he pay his own expenses, and it is hard to get sponsorships and not maybe scholarships too?
That's a great question, Miss Babels. Yeah, it is. You know, especially with the schedule that we are dealt with. It's not easy to work. It's not easy to, uh, to deal with some of those expenses. I think um, NIL is a big factor to a lot of these colleges that I'm not really happy with NIL. Um, just because it to me personally, the biggest payment that someone can offer a student, especially a student athlete, is that you are covering their entire education. You're covering their room and board. You're providing them with meals, and you're giving them shoes, clothing, just out the wazoo, things that a normal average college student will not get. So I think on the NIL side, it's not well, it's not hard. For some of my teammates, I haven't gone to venture out towards the NIL side of it. Um, but I think
Do you?
it can be a great opportunity, but
Well,
it could also be.
let me ask you a quick question on that. Do you
Mhm.
have to like pursue these opportunities? So, does anyone on your team have any NIL deals or that
Yes,
you're
yeah.
aware of?
One of the guys on the one of the freshmen on the men's team. He has an NIL deal, and usually the
Okay.
process you have to do to clear it is you have to meet with the compliance team. You have to check out, make sure that there is nothing that goes against the university. And once they check that box, then you're all good to go. It's just you kind of have to monitor and be careful on what you accept and all that stuff. So that's why there are a lot of these, especially the bigger universities, they're really kind of on top of those kids that are NIL. Like for example, like let's say Nike approaches me and they're like, "Hey, we want to offer you all this stuff." Well, I can't take it because unfortunately the school's Under Armour
Yeah, you're
and they're
still Under
Nike,
Armour.
and it conflicts. So
Mm,
if Under Armour approached me, then I can go full steam ahead. It's just when it comes to like Adidas, Nike, and others, brands that do not match up with the university, I can't accept. But
okay, that makes
mhm,
sense. That
mhm.
they can't have an existing deal that you
Correct,
would be going
correct.
against and
Would it
rocking
have to
an
be a
alternative brand.
situation where you'd have to like cover up the logo type deal, or you just couldn't do it at all?
I can't do it at all. Yeah.
Okay. What expenses does school cover versus what you may have to take care of as a student athlete on your own?
Um, I mean the food side is a big one. Uh, you know, yeah, you're looking at maybe just on groceries alone, maybe $100 a week, $150 a week. That uh, kind of I was lucky that reduced my expenses on a weekend week out basis, just because I did have the cool thing about here at Southern is we have two cafeterias. We have the one that's a little bit further from campus, and one that's closer to the dorm. So anytime I wanted breakfast, lunch, or dinner, I can go across campus where say most of my classes are at, or if I'm hungry at night, I can just go to the one here closer to the dorms and get my food. So
Cool.
it's pretty cool.
Cool. Is your equipment taken care of? did you have to bring your own stuff? I know this is an upstart program, correct? This is not
Yeah. So
the one
this
that's been around
sub
for a while.
so this is the first year Southern Golf has been back since 2012. We got we were off to a little rocky start. We really didn't have enough time. I mean, I feel like the university just kind of threw it at our coaches, and we're just like, okay, do as best as you can this year and run with it. So we are still looking for a manufacturer. We're still looking for what I mean, we already know what our clothes are going to be because it's Under Armour. We're just kind of hopefully trying to solidify what ball we're going to use. Right now, we have a deal with Bridgestone. I think a lot of the HBCUs have deals with Bridgestones. I like the ball. I personally like the ball. But as of club manufacturers right now, we're kind of in between. We don't know if we want to go Titleist, Callaway, Ping. We're just kind of seeing who gives us the best deal and how much we can cover for the team. So,
Yeah, sweet. Thanks for the question, Mom. Let's scroll down here. Had Perry pull this up. Said, Michael, what's in the golf bag, and did they make you grow the beard to be on this channel? So I can answer that one for him. You know, he has fortunately had a beard for as long as I've known him. So he is kind of a natural fit to jump on the show. So I don't know. We if he had a weak chin and no beard, we may have had to clown him and shun him. But yeah, he's a natural
uh,
fit. So what's
yeah.
in the golf bag, my guy?
All right. We'll start with the putter. So putter right now I have a Bettinardi BB1. It's a with a stability shaft on it. I love it. It's the closest thing to a Scotty Cameron. Um, it's a softer milled as well, so it rolls really well. It feels great in my hands. It looks great in my hands. So I originally had a Phantom 5.5, and it just really didn't scream to me. So I went over to the Bettinardi and I fell in love with it. Wedges, I have the Cleveland Zip Cord 58, 54, 50 with dynamic gold S400s in them. I originally had ping
That's a
wedges. Yeah, it's I
heavy
like the way
shaft.
they yeah, I like the way they feel. I love the spin that they create. They look good in my hand. I really like them. I like how they're raw, so they rust and they create even more spin. It's like putting sandpaper on the face of it, and just I can reduce, add, whatever. Um, irons. So I actually have new irons on the way. Uh, they're coming in Monday or Tuesday when I get back. Well, they'll be coming into Houston. I'm of course in Baton Rouge. But this year I decided to go with Strixon in the iron department. So I did a combo set this year. So I did the Z Forge 2 pitching wedge through 7 iron and the ZX7s in 4, 5, and 6 with KBS C Taper X130s. And just hopefully getting a little bit more forgiveness in the bag. I currently play Pink Blueprints with the same shaft.
I thought you were playing
Um,
125s.
yeah, so yeah, they're S pluses in the blueprints. But since gladly I lost a little bit of weight and put some muscle on, uh, upgraded shafts a little bit. Uh, so I'm excited to really hit those irons, really get some forgiveness back in the bag, and hopefully be a little bit more accurate. So um, 3 hybrid is a Ping G430 with a Kylie ADX. I like to hit my woods high just so I can kind of attack the green better on those longer shots or those longer par fives. So I really like the way they feel. I really like the way they look. 3 wood is a Ping G430 Max with a hazardous smoke green, extra stiff 70 grams. That specific head is a little spinny. It tends to rise on me, but with that shaft, it's done a great job in controlling the spin. And really, if I want to penetrate it or fly it up, I mean, it's a great shaft for those big hitters.
Yeah.
Lastly, the driver. is a G430 LST 10.5 with the same shaft from my 3 wood, but instead of it being in 70X, it's a 60X. I like a little bit lighter in my driver, so it doesn't feel as heavy. It's actually a little bit shorter than industry standard, just so I can control it better. And yeah, that's my bag right there.
Sweet. Thanks for that question, Perry, and also thank you, sir, for the comment and the super chat to the stream. We really appreciate it. We are grateful. Thank you for your contributions to the show, commenting. We always appreciate a good comment from Perry. I look forward to it, man.
Long time
And
subs, Perry.
yeah, yeah, we appreciate you, my guy. So next time we're down in Houston, we're gonna have to hook up with Perry and compare kicks for that day. So shout out to you. You brought up, going through your bag. A question for you two guys: who currently makes the best woods in the game? I think Ping and TaylorMade. I don't know, man. I play Ping woods, and outside of my driver, like my 3 wood and hybrid. Marcus, I know you're playing the Sim 2 Max,
The
and
Max
Mike cleared
One.
the Max 1, and it's still booming. So who's winning that battle? Woods in the game.
I think Ping is better overall. Just a better product. It's more consistent. The face reception now and the sound that they have dialed it into with their recent R&D is just perfect. Because I never really was just a loud Ping guy, but this quiet tink that they have going on is very ASMR to me. But don't get me wrong. I mean, I still love my TaylorMade Sim Max, but as far as my 3 wood, my 3 hybrid, which are G410, so a couple of models behind, they're still very active, still very hot. And yeah, I think Ping is overall number one, and TaylorMade is a very close number two. I think people are sleeping on Mizuno, but again, us being American and everything like that, a Japanese brand of golf is not really just gonna just jump out and be like, yo, we need you in our clubs. They have a brand. They have a following already. They don't need any more. They're making enough money. So,
I
but
think
Mizuno
Mizuno's
has
they're creeping up. I think a lot more people are not. I
yeah,
shouldn't say a lot, but there are some enthusiasts for Mizuno
yeah.
irons that
The
they're
irons are
soft and
always there. The putter is a very nice looking putter, and they have instead of like the cool matte black that a lot of these golf manufacturers are offering, they have their own thing with that like powder kind of like metallic blue that they offer, and it pops. It's not too loud, but it's a really good
yeah.
look. I know it's a little bit loud for you, right? I'm sorry. My
I
apologies.
know it's not for everybody, but
Right.
some variety. Yeah.
Marcus, aren't your
Definitely.
irons are Mizuno, huh? You're playing the 223s, right?
Yeah, I recently dropped a what's in the bag on my Instagram. I want to do something. I want to do like similar to what Rod did with like the distances and stuff like that. Just get it set up, have the swing on display, and show off all my yardages and stuff like that. Because the gapping is very good with Mizuno. Like, cause they're similar to my Nike Pro Combo Iron yardages and specs and stuff like that, but they're also different. Like the gapping is like a little bit more spread out, but the yardages still play the same. Like I'm still 10 to 15 in between each club, and it's all pretty controllable as far as trajectory, as far as landing, as far as like, my average carry distance on each club. So yeah, I'm loving my Mizunos. I'm loving the new shafts that I have in them. So much more forgiving and playable than the S300s I was playing. So yeah, very, very, very much in love. Very much in love, Mike.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fair.
Um, Mike, any other things that you would tell everybody about your college experience, and what are some of the positives, things that you've enjoyed, particularly about being down at Southern and Baton Rouge. I love Baton Rouge. It's a cool little city. What are some of the positives that you've experienced being down there?
Um, I think the amount of support that the people of Baton Rouge have for Southern. It's ridiculous. I mean, you come out here on a Friday night and you see RVs lined up, going all around Mumford Stadium, just waiting for to see the Golden Blue hit the field. I mean, they have a just remarkable following all over the place, even for the band, the Human Jukebox. I mean, people just come to see the band. It's a little bit of a different environment for me, especially because I don't see people of my culture or my color. But it's a great environment. It's awesome. Even the golf team, they have a big following. It's really awesome. There's a little store that's over across the bridge from Southern where they sell one of our golf. Yeah, go Jags. They sell our golf bag or one of the renditions of our golf bag, and they sell it out to the public. And I every time I go in there to buy a shirt or something, I ask them like, how's the golf bag selling? They're like, yeah, it's hard to keep up. So we've it's an awesome following. The people are amazing. The food is, incredible. If you're a big,
Oh yeah.
if you're a big spice guy, I enjoy it here. Of course, I'd rather be back in my home state in Houston, in Texas, but they've really treated me like family here, and I appreciate that. And thank you to Southern, and thank you to the people of Baton Rouge who support the golf team. Without y'all, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's awesome.
yeah, I had just a few questions myself, Mike. So like
Mhm.
as far as like transportation goes, like how much would you say you feel like you try to get home as a collegiate athlete and as somebody that wants to visit the fam? And I know you have a love bug here as well. So shout out to Gabby. But also, and then in connection with that, what do you feel like are some of the main differences that you've seen that have just stood out to you as far as compared to a private Christian university that was also a D1 school compared to a public HBCU? Anything just crazy of difference, or has everything pretty much lined up the same as trying to be an athlete and trying to do things as far as golf goes?
It's different. I think I get the good part about when I was at Houston Baptist, or Houston Christian, was that I really didn't have a golf schedule. I really didn't have a time to practice. I either worked at Wildcat or a Golf Galaxy 5 days out of the week, and then on top of that, I had to study. So I really didn't have a time to really sit there and practice and prepare
Like
for
a schedule
events.
or a regimen or
Yeah,
something?
correct. Yeah, absolutely. And the cool part about coming to Southern is that, I have people who make my schedule. I have people who tell me that will tutor me if I'm failing the class. And, they've made that schedule to where I go to class in the morning or in the afternoon, and then I go to practice or work out. I work out 3, 4 times a week with the team, and then we practice as a team. I think my game is, it's getting better day in, day out. Of course, we all hit rough patches, but now that I do have this schedule and now that I am a student athlete, it's really helped me tremendously in the sense of having a structured schedule and being more disciplined, and knowing that as kind of the older figure on the team, because I'm 22 and these guys are 18, 17. I'm like an older figure to them, and they call me grandpa and stuff like that, and they make fun of me. Yeah, and but I
Oh,
think some of these
speaking of,
guys are, huh?
I said speaking of, got a comment earlier from a guy said Andy Gutierrez said,
That's
guess you're
that's my
somebody's play
nephew.
uncle.
That's
Andy's like 2 years younger than him. That's what's
that.
so funny
No,
about
he's
it.
older than me. He's older than
That's
me.
right. That's right.
That's my nephew Andy. Shout out Andy. Shout out A-Leaf. But I think a lot of these guys on the team look up to me, and they look up to what I say and the decisions that I make. For aside from coaches, they really respond well to what I have to say and what I have to show them or what I have to teach them. So for I think for a group of guys, having an older figure on the team really has helped them, and I've been able to guide them as well. Is like, hey, do you realize that, like, and I think, and I really want to hit on this note that collegiate athletes have to understand that this is a business transaction. This is this is business because the school is paying me money to be here so that I represent them. And if I don't represent in the classroom, I'm not going to represent on the field. And that's a waste of money. So I think kids need to realize if they want to become a collegiate athlete in any sport that school comes first, then the sport. Because when you say student athlete, student is first, then athlete.
Yeah.
So I think all these kids need to realize that you have to be a student first before you're an athlete. Like there are nights like I have finals next week or Monday. I haven't slept. Like I go to sleep at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, day in, day out. And I get up the next day, go to class, work out, go to the golf course. So I think me telling these kids about my story and, how I've lost scholarships, how I've almost been kicked out of Houston Baptist University because I wasn't being a student, that I really hope that they learn. And I really don't want to see any of these guys on my team lose the greatest opportunity they can have, and that's to be a Division I athlete. So,
Yeah,
um,
glad you could put that in perspective.
yeah, I mean, I love my team. I love the guys here. They're like I said, it's a fairly young team besides myself. So, when I'm gone, hopefully I've put the next version of myself in this team to where they can be the next guiding light to these kids because we're just the starters, and after that they're the forerunners. It's in their hands after that. I'm only here for another year. After that, someone will take my spot as captain or as the head guy. So I think by then, hopefully, there'll be one guy on the team that'll step up and really be the role model for these incoming freshmen and really kind of lay down the groundwork that we've worked, or at least I've worked so hard to instill in this team to continue to be great and to be great not only on the golf course but in the classroom as well.
Well, I think they've picked the right guy to restart the program with, and have that elder statesman to instill some knowledge and really lay out the priorities. I think that was amazing hearing you talk about that. Because Marcus's question was so long, how often are you able to get back home to Houston
Thank you.
since you are?
Sorry.
No,
No, I
you
was very
no.
long winded. I was long
I
winded.
blame Marcus for like three
Yeah,
parting you with that question. So,
I was
how
long
often
winded.
have you been able to get back to H Town?
Oh man, as much as I can. Uh, as you mentioned, I do have a girlfriend back home in Houston. I love her. I love my heart. She's an amazing person. She's been with me this whole time in this process. But I think I've been able to maybe come home 3 or 4 times, and it's probably going to be less and less in the spring, just because we're in a full schedule and we're going to go balls to the wall, especially in the spring. And even next year, we might, we're going to have a little bit of a more packed schedule. So it's maybe I'm only going to be coming home on holidays or on certain occasions. And, unfortunately, like I'm missing my mom's birthday because I have finals. I'm missing our 2-year anniversary which is the same day as my mom's birthday. So I won't be in town till maybe a couple days after that, to really spend time here. And I think, and I even think I have to leave early from my winter break because I have athletic issues to address or athletic events to address that, some of the people on the team are like, oh, I'm not coming back. Well, guess what? We have to do that. That's part of the job. And you signed
Yeah.
up for it. You signed that scholarship. You signed that contract stating, I'm a collegiate athlete for Southern. And guess what? We have to attend these things, whether we like it or not. We have to do it. And another thing is, if coaches ask for you to like, hey, we want you to come to this fundraiser, guess what? You're going, because without that, without those boosters, we don't get to do
Yeah.
what we get to do here. So I think that's another thing that I think athletes need to realize, that we're going to be a show pony. We're the show ponies, and people want to see us. They want to shake our hands. They want to talk about us. They want to get to know us. So, um,
They want to put a face to
right,
what they're
absolutely,
supporting.
yes, absolutely. So,
Oh, speaking of, you need to whoever is in charge of Southern social media needs to get on it and build out y'all's profiles on the website, try to get some, pre work done and additional
Hmm.
information. So tell them to, get y'all's social media, your Instagram boosted up and,
Yeah, yeah, we're
one, yeah,
we've
Some more content.
we've or I've mentioned it to coach that I think the social media team should maybe do like a like maybe like one day we do an Instagram takeover, or it's like, hey, I'm Michael Pimentel, blah blah blah. Let's go through my day, and I'll go to class, we'll go to workouts, we'll go to practice, blah. Or if not, like do like a 1 minute profile of like who you are, what year, what you like, and then what's something that you want to achieve, or blah 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 blah. And I think that'll really as well show to everyone else at Southern, not just excuse me, the boosters, but as well to the students on Southern, like, oh, hey, you're the kid on the golf team, or you're the kid, whatever. So I think that'll also help really put our name out. And I even mentioned to him that the original bag that we have, or that they gave us, um, because we have like, I think 12 left over, that to really help if we really wanted to keep fundraising some money for the team, if we like took one of those bags and we all signed it, and we'll be
Yeah,
like the
auctioned it
comeback
off.
team. Right. And it'll be like all like 6 or 7 or 8 of us that'll have signed it, and it'll be like the comeback team, and we'll raffle it off or auction it off, however. And then that's another great way of bringing money to the team so that we can, afford, say, clubs or more plane tickets or more scholarships, stuff like that. And, I've thought about it all, and I've presented it to coach and these guys, and they're doing the best with what they have and what they can. I'm not gonna talk down on them because they've been a blessing and a big help to me, and especially putting me in that role that I'm in right now. They've just kind of put it in my hands, and they're like, this is what we expect of you. Now go do it. And they've even given me some freedom, so they're doing the best job that they can do, and I applaud them and I thank them as much as I can.
awesome. What else you got, Marcus?
Oh yes. Do you want to speak briefly about what you posted on your Instagram earlier today? The little excerpt that was supposed to be running before the the
Hmm.
Tiger Hero World Challenge. It was like a little PGA Tour original or something like that, right?
Did it air? Did it?
I
Did it
don't.
go?
I don't. I, I'm asking
We were
you. We try to give
well,
you the spotlight.
right before he joined Marcus. I think me and Marcus were talking backstage, and I think I was trying to catch it and then got busy around that time, and I think he was looking for it. So
Yeah.
we're definitely gonna have to track that down and
Uh-huh.
link that in the description of this video and any subsequent clips that come up throughout the week. But I do want to say that if you want to check out more of Michael, quick short that I threw in the description of his swing from last Christmas out at Wildcat, go check my boy out. So I don't think that ended up airing, and I don't
Yeah,
know if that was
right.
just a programming issue, but we'll
Gotcha.
we'll figure that out and
Hmm.
throw that in.
So yeah, so the PGA approached from what it looked like, uh, Florida A&M University, Tennessee State, and Southern, and they were just kind of going in and doing a story on all three teams. And with Southern being a new program, they were just kind of really asking us like, what goes into rebuilding a collegiate team,
Yeah.
what's the ins and outs. And I think the this is a great opportunity for Southern. It really puts our name out. It really does. It shows that, yeah, we're a young team, but guess what, we're coming out swinging. We're here to win championships. We're here to win the PGA Works. We want it. We want it bad. And I think we got a good kid coming in next year, from North Carolina. He's a stud, just an absolute stud. And hopefully we get some more girls and guys on the team where we're really be at 100%, and we'll just hopefully dominate the SWAC. And on top of that, I think a lot of these, especially the PGA Works and this in this program, really has brought attention to HBCUs because we've always been the tail end of the joke. We've always been the one who has really never gotten the attention that was, that's given to these bigger schools or these bigger conferences. And I think they've done a great job of really showcasing Black, Hispanic, Asian Pacific, all these different ethnicities and races in a tournament. And we could showcase our abilities and really show like, hey, this is the next generation of Black golfers or Hispanic golfers or Asian golfers that are, on the way up. So for, thank you to the PGA and making that tournament happen, and thank you to the Golf Channel or NBC, whoever it was that they wanted to do a story on us and all these different historically black colleges, and really just put our name out there and show to these people that, guess what, we're here and we're ready. So, you know, I wish nothing but success to the rest of those programs and to Southern. And but just know that if we end up together, I'm going to try and beat the brakes off of you, and I know you will as well. So, but that's competition, and that's what we want.
Good to hear, man. Good
Sweet.
to hear.
You got any more questions on deck, Marcus?
No, I'm all out.
I want to say, and I could be mistaken on this, it's trouble of going live, but I want to say Trap Golf founder Wayne is a Southern
Yeah,
University vet.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
Actually, well, hold on. I want to tell you something real quick. So this is we
while
got
he's
the golf
looking
bag
for
right
that,
here.
oh go
Yeah.
go
So
ahead.
shout out Trap Golf. So this is the bag we have, and we have them on our golf bags, and we got
Sweet.
them right here on the side pocket. So shout out to Trap Golf. Shout out to Wayne. Thank you so much. He's shown great support for Southern, and he really has been in contact with our coach, and that the best way I think we could really showcase him and his company and his brand is uh, by putting him in our bag and really just putting his name out there. So thank you, Wayne, thank you, Trap Golf, and we're hopefully we'll just keep going up from here.
That's a
Yeah.
W.
I've run into Wayne randomly, like at an airport in I think Orlando or somewhere, at a couple of him caddying out on the Corn Ferry tour. Really
Mm-hmm.
good dude and just genuine, authentic guy. So, trap golf in the building, as I've said to him. He's I'm just inspired by just people of color getting in the game of golf. It's something that me and Marcus always talk about that we wish we would have done earlier in our lives, but we're here now. And shout out to you. Taking the leap of faith to go to an HBCU, it's not an easy path. I mean, typically funding can be a bit of a struggle, but, just, with the exposure that, the showcase at Cedar Crest, hopefully you get the invite next year as your program matures, and maybe we
Hmm.
see you up at Cedar Crest next year and just opening up all kinds of doors. And even as
Yeah,
you're
absolutely.
talking, and being part of this return to golf at Southern, maybe that's a coaching position or some administrative position for you at the university, if long term, if playing doesn't pan out, or after you're done playing and pursuing your golf career. I
Facts.
just see really big things for you, and just hearing your passion and talking about returning to Southern, and kind of bringing the program out of the ashes is pretty damn awesome. Yeah, and just to pull this up, also Blackballed Golf. There's a lot of African American owned golf companies out there. So shout out to Trap Golf, shout out to Blackballed. Entrepreneurship and into this game of golf, which is an amazing game and opens up all kinds of doors. So
Oh yeah.
I mean, guys, I'm pretty damn pleased with how this show turned out. I think Michael hadn't burned any bridges, so I think he'll get that return invite at some point to come back and join us. So,
Hopefully.
um, again, we're here every week. It's the Bearder Bros Golf Show. We appreciate you guys. What you got?
Perry Wallet. Perry Wallet.
Okay, we got you, man. We're gonna have to set something up. I'll be down in during Christmas, so if the weather cooperates, we'll have to get something going, Perry. So, um, Bearded Bros Golf Show. We'll be back at this thing again next week, talking about the PNC, talking about the Live qualifying event, which I didn't even get into the has-beens that are going to be playing on that. But we'll talk about it next week and more in detail. We'll catch you guys next week. Bearded Bros, peace.